They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Got an excellent day for an exorcism.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We have such sights to show you.
Who's laughing now?
I'll drive you crazy. I'll kill you all. I'll be the nightmare you've ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
They're here.
Live, there we go. Awesome. Hey everybody, how you doing? Miguel Rodriguez here. That's the intro for the Bakersfield Gentleman.
Yeah, what are you doing?
That's my normal speaking voice, okay? Let's not judge just yet, okay? Because I would like to point out that the movie is about a female demon ghost thing. I'm the only man here. So if anyone's innocent, it's this guy. Go ahead and drink my drink now.
Anyway, as he said, we are reviewing a movie this evening where we're going to be talking about it, basically. The movie is called Mama, as you can tell from the title. Director Andy Moose. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Muschietti. Came out in 2013. It says that I looked it up. It says supposedly that it's like a horror thriller, and I don't know. That's not true. Because I would lean more towards like supernatural, paranormal.
I would say, yeah. Hey Gary, how you doing, brother?
Hi, Gary.
But you know what though? Like, have you seen Dead Silence?
No.
Have you seen Dead Silence with the dolls, the Mary Shaw ventriloquist? Okay, it's kind of cheesy, but it's a fun horror movie. Just because it's a bunch of talking dummies and they call that a thriller too. But it's a bunch of dummies that are possessed by a spirit. So wouldn't you like paranormal way more than thriller?
I would lean more towards that. A horror thriller. I mean, it is a thrill to watch it, but I don't know, dumb. Jessica Chastain's in it. She plays Annabelle, which they call her Annie throughout. I think they should have just stuck with one name. That got confusing for me.
It would, but let's go into it in a little bit. It's gonna, because it's like the very beginning, so it's gonna take very little time to talk about. But something really bugged me in this too. The actor though, who I pointed out first, and then someone's all like,
I don't remember him doing it first.
Come on, this time I'm pretty correct on this one.
I'm staying out of it.
I was at. Oh, you know what? That's okay. Who is it though?
Jamie Lannister.
Jamie Lannister.
He plays Luke and Jeff. They're twins.
Yeah, that bugged me. Because like when I first saw it, they just show this guy who's like breaking down and he's distraught. And you hear a gunshot, which I'm assuming he murdered his wife. I'm on the right path there? And then he does a mice and men to his daughter. Oh, look at the trees. Oh, look at the deer.
Or in The Walking Dead, look at the flowers.
Look at the flowers. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Jamie Lannister wouldn't do that. Not to his own family. Okay, he pays his debts. But that's the only thing I really had an issue with. I also missed the ending. I'll admit that. I apologize to everyone out there.
Let's beat him.
I only deserve 2 of those. But does the brother come back into play then? He's gone though, right? Like it's not really a big issue that he played 2 characters because only one of them. No. Okay, cool. All right. Now I'm good. I am kind of caught up.
It's not like a Parent Trap style thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, you can't do what Lindsay Lohan does, right? Love her.
All right. So the little girls are named Victoria and Lily. So we start out, like you said, where a man, essentially, we find out is a big partner in like some sort of like stockbroking company, and there was like an economic collapse, something that would hit like a stock market crash is what it was, and he had like a psychotic break, and he just starts murking fools.
He really does.
He kills 2 of his coworkers, well, one, and the other one is in like critical condition or something in the hospital. Then he goes to his home, or his estranged wife's home, where he then shoots her and kidnaps the children. And on his way to wherever he's going, he doesn't even know, he's just trying to get away. You notice that he holds up a bottle of pills. He's clearly mentally ill. He doesn't have his prescription filled, which if you knew you were getting low, why wouldn't you get them filled? But I guess it would ruin the plot.
Okay, I actually didn't get that. I thought he was trying to commit suicide by pills.
Mm-mm.
Oh man.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I was.
he
thinking.
clearly had some mental health issues already, and he was out of his medication.
So once the stock crashed, he lost all that money.
He
Just like
lost his mind after that.
that makes way more sense than I was thinking. Damn it. Okay. All right. I like that though. Thank you. No, thank you. And real quick, Gary, Dead Silence, seen in theater years back, find it predictable when the father kind of acted weird and the caretaker was throwing her voice when she's next to him. No, I totally agree. It was predictable, but I still really liked it because the dolls looked creepy. The detective throughout, if you remember him, was hilariously generic, and he did a really good job of like those puns and stuff. Like, oh, I gotta get over this job to the next one. You know, that really generic detective. So Dead Silence aside, and how you're right, it's absolutely predictable. I really liked it. So that's a story for another day. Sorry.
Excuse me. How about that for another day too? It's these things, not sponsored, which we should be, because I always drink these shits.
This is a good switch from alcohol, I think, on a regular basis. This is definitely healthier.
Oh yeah.
Is there
Much
alcohol
better.
in this?
No,
No. It's nothing. There's nothing in it.
literally
It's
just
really
flavored
good, though.
sparkling water. Okay, so the guy's driving his kids, and he's screaming at them, telling them to shut up because they're like, "You're driving too fast," which poor things, they were so scared. But he's like, "Shut up!" And then he like crashes. The girls live. He lives. He takes them to a cabin where he was initially going to commit suicide, and then he couldn't do it. And like you said, he was going to look at the flowers, his own kid.
That was bad.
Yeah, but an entity swoops in and suffocates him, I guess, or breaks his neck or something.
It definitely kills him. I like how they did that in Blur, because the daughter lost her glasses. Like, oh, I can't really see very well, Dad, and she couldn't see this thing just pick her dad up and just straight up, probably I think like snapped his neck. Probably.
Right. So he disappears, and then these 2 girls. Before that, he starts a fire, which good for him. Thank you for doing that, at least, so they wouldn't freeze to death. So the little girls, they are just fed cherries by this entity that takes care of them.
Yeah, that was yeah.
I mean, supernatural, ghosty shit. Makes sense.
Are you saying that because there's ghosts and cherries and like Pac-Man and that kind of fits, or because there's nothing else like cherry and ghost do not make sense to me?
I didn't get it either, because I mean, if this thing could pick up the dude and do, like, you'd think maybe she could build a fire and
Maybe she can cook something.
hunt a deer.
Excuse me. Well, it turns out, I guess she did feed them in some sort of way. The crazy thing that I noticed during the credits was they have the kids' drawings, which kind of depicted their life in those 5 years that they were missing.
That was a cool touch.
Yeah, it shows them like eating raw freaking dead animals, and
Like rats and stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy. Raccoon, I saw in one picture.
I mean, if you gotta eat, so.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not like they have a 7-Eleven out there. So.
Yeah. So, the twin brother of Jeff is Luke. And it shows him with his girlfriend. Basically, they're just this hippie, like, kind of, I don't know, hipster couple.
He literally was wearing the hipster uniform.
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing his like soft cap and his cardigan. So it was like
and tight jeans.
Yeah. So he was straight up like he was around the curve. Not come on. Just the opposite of everything else I've seen him in. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah. In one movie I saw, he was like he had a weird mustache and he killed somebody drunk driving or something.
Shot caller.
Yeah.
Fucking love that.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, never mind. We're stopping the show because you have to watch that later now. No, forget it. It's like this movie was fun. That movie's fucking awesome. It's just you have to like
Shot caller.
Shot caller though. Yeah, you have to like
I'm
crime
make
movies.
a note of it.
Yes, please. If you're out there and you haven't seen Shot caller yet,
excuse me.
Jamie Lannister kills the Punisher. I'll tell you right now. It's awesome. So yeah, I love that movie. I'm glad you brought it up because
I do like that movie.
The mustache and then the ending like fight. Oh my god. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I'm way off topic. Gosh dang it.
Well, he's a good actor and he plays American really well.
He does.
Yeah. So his girlfriend Annabelle, we'll call her Annie throughout the rest of this because it's.
I like it.
So, a really important thing that she says at the beginning of when we meet her is she is not pregnant. She's taking a pregnancy test, and she's like really excited that she's not pregnant. Which, spoiler alert, she's gonna have to take care of kids. Yeah.
At least she misses the diaper stage.
That's yeah, worse. Lucky her.
She has the feral child stage. I think it's worse. Creepy ass thing crawling stage.
That's true.
Yeah.
I would.
I don't know about that.
I think it was awesome to watch, but if you like think about it, there's no way I could handle that.
No.
Technically, she only had to handle one.
The other one was a lot better and could talk.
Yeah.
Did the little girl talk? The younger?
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely. Yeah. It was noted too that when they found those girls, there were men searching that Luke had hired to help him search the woods and all that shit, which I don't know how they didn't fucking find it sooner. They found the car crash. It's like, dude, you would think after 5 years you would have searched that area.
Yeah, or someone report a car crash.
Yeah. Somebody jogging something. Somebody would have seen something.
Well, they weren't that far in either.
No.
I mean, it didn't show him like walking mountains to
get
to where he's at.
Yeah, there's no way. So I don't know. That kind of pissed me off, but whatever. So they find this cabin. They find the cabin, and then they find those creepy children crawling up on top of the refrigerator, and that was creepy as fuck.
That was pretty awesome.
They were dirty and bony and creepy.
And non-speaking either of them at that time.
At that point, yeah, they were just communicating in scratches.
As you should with your siblings. If you have brothers and sisters, just scratch at them. Totally normal. I didn't say scratch them. At them. Tables.
Oh, okay.
The microphone. You're gonna start cutting me like,
I'll show you how long my nails are getting from not biting them.
Proud of you. Oh my gosh.
So they end up at a facility, obviously some sort of like therapy thing.
Smart.
To try to just reintroduce these girls back into society. And they keep, they obviously are talking about this entity that raised them that they call Mama. And they think, oh, these kids are delusional because they've just been out of nowhere. They created this figure, Dr. Dreyfus says that they basically created this figure to help them cope with being alone, feeding them and, you know, all that stuff. So Victoria, in one of these, oh no, let's go back to the hearing. So there was a hearing on who's going to get custody of these girls. And the sister of the estranged ex-wife that was killed and Luke are having to kind of figure out this custody thing. So I guess they're going to have visitation with the aunt, Aunt Jean, even though basically they're not really equipped to take care of them, but they move back into their old house. The little girl's old house, because that apartment that they were living in was too small.
Yeah,
Wasn't feral children.
Wasn't it a facility house? Like they had that for case studies? Oh, that's
was it?
Yeah, that's what the house
I don't remember. I thought for some reason that they got the brothers. Oh, but if the ship crashed, I don't know. Maybe they took his assets.
They probably didn't have the house anymore.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, that makes sense.
No, from what I remember, it was the doctor, Dr. Dreyfus. I don't, is that pronounced?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Dr. Dreyfus gave them an ultimatum, like, if you want me to give you the recommendation to keep your nieces.
I probably wouldn't pee for that part.
That is a peeable moment. I totally agree.
Boring.
But it was, because it's a case, like, you're having an entire movie about ghosts and stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, we'll take a break for the legal system, and let's see what happens here. It wasn't, it makes sense, though. It does, because if you found out that you had nieces somewhere and that someone else would you, I guess you'd go to court for it, right? Like that makes
especially if they were, you know, them being found the way they were.
Probably not.
I was like, that look is not like you're just gonna let them. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Somebody else could handle that one.
And yeah, I guess yeah. I mean, they're kind of creepy. But this lady did come. What they said was across the country to come try to get these kids away. And obviously the doctor didn't want that because he's like, I can help them. Good thing. And then he offers the house for free. So why not? I would have taken that too if I wanted to keep the kids.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why I skipped that part. But anyway, so that's how we are introduced to Aunt Jean. And in a hypnosis session with Dr. Dreyfus, Victoria tells the story of Mama. So basically, she said there's a woman who who left a hospital for sad people, and she took her baby and jumped into the water. And he asked, well, how do you know this story? She said, Mama told me in a dream. She showed me in a dream. And so we are basically kind of introduced to sort of a backstory, but just a vague backstory so far. So yeah, they're in this house. It just shows how much weirder it is, like being around these kids.
Oh yeah.
Like the younger one only sleeps under the bed. She won't sleep anywhere else. She still kind of crawls around on all fours. She only eats cherries. She won't eat anything else.
You know, they use that in a lot of movies and stuff, like not being able to sleep in a bed. Like there was, I forget which movie it was, but it was a PTSD from war movie where the guy couldn't sleep in his bed because he wasn't used to comfortability. And then there was one just recently in Ozark, I finally watched that, where this kid's in a really abusive home and he doesn't sleep inside of their mobile homes, so he'll sleep on the roof. So it's kind of I think that's kind of a trope throughout movies where if you've been through a trauma, it's kind of hard to sleep in something so comfortable because you're not used to being comfortable. You're not used to that normal, like everyone wants to have a comfy bed kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And it really showed on her because I think at one point when they were checking up on like, oh, it's time to go to bed, she's laying there and you just see her eyes like pop open.
That was fucking creepy as shit.
That one got me.
Oh,
good.
you remember in the part where they're recording the kids just in their, just like sleeping or whatever, and then she's like sleeping with her fucking eyes open, rocking back and forth. That shit scared the shit out of me. Like, ugh, I don't like that. I don't like kids being weird.
Well, which one's worse, that one or The Grudge? You guys remember The Grudge when the little girl's just staring at the clock for like 4 hours?
Oh.
I haven't seen The
didn't really
Grudge in
scare
a
me that
long
Oh,
time.
that scene stuck with me because they have the exact same situation where they're recording and monitoring her behavior while she's alone in this room.
Yeah.
And at one point, she's like staring at stuff. She's sitting on her bed, just sitting there. And at one point, for at least like 4 hours, I think if I saw the clock go around, she just stares at the clock move. And it's one of those, what do you call it? Analog clocks. So it's, spins across. So you're just watching time move in a circle. And I still remember, like, that's just creepy. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, like what's going on in that brain?
Right? Oh my gosh. Clocks are bad.
So Dr. Dreyfus was presented by that public records lady with, she's basically like, hey, I heard that story that little girl told, and I think you need to see this. So it was a case of a patient at St. Gertrude Asylum that was shut down in 1878. And on page 31, there was an Edith Brennan. So they learned a little bit more of this backstory. And at the house, later on, it pans over to the house, and the little girl, you would think that the two girls are playing together, right? Because there's a hallway, and then there's an open door where you can see the little girl tugging on like a sheet or something. And then you just see an empty hallway, and then you assume that the little girls are playing together because they're just giggling shit. And then you see the older one in the hallway, and you're like, who the fuck is she playing with? Like, it's so creepy. That part creeped me out when I saw it in the theaters. I saw it when it came out 10 years ago.
I missed it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since then, so this is kind of fun to like.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I think this one would have been better on the big screen. I feel like it would have been, because I remember that scene reminded me of the same one from Paranormal Activity 3, where it goes back in time. They use the VHS tapes, and the dad is like, it's about the mom from the first one and the aunt from the second one. And they have a little girl playing like, oh, I want to go again, and you hear her voice, and it pans to another camera, and it shows the ghost throwing her off the stairs and catching her at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh my God.
Like, that's just fucking awesome. Because it wasn't really scary in that one. This one was definitely scary. I think you're right.
Yeah, and then you can see her shadow on the wall. This is before you can actually see what this thing looks like. So you get to see like kind of bits and pieces. So shadow on the wall creeps me out. And then basically there's some sort of like black splotch on the wall that has moths coming out of it. So I guess that's like a, excuse me, we'll learn later that it's sort of like a portal, right? So Luke sees this portal and he freaks out, and a hand comes through and literally pushes him down the stairs. So that's when he falls into a coma.
Yes, that's
I
what.
remember,
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah. The moms also, oh my gosh, the movie with Negan from The Walking Dead has two daughters, and there is a Dead Book, which is a Jewish demon box where they hold it. It's not The Conjuring. It's not. Oh my gosh.
Oh shit! I remember.
Right. It's because the moths were a big part of that one too.
Oh, and they just moved into a new house. It's like freshly built.
Yup.
I think I remember that. I don't remember the name of it though.
It's just because those names are so interchangeable between The Conjuring, The Happening, the Convergence or something.
It's something with the Catholic Church and stuff. Too,
No,
right?
this one was a Jewish.
Oh, okay.
demon.
Well, he's also in another one where there's like a Catholic.
The Possession.
The Possession.
That's
Thank
a 2012.
There's another one that he was in that came out recently.
Oh,
That's the one I was thinking of.
the new Exorcist, or this is already out?
No, this came out a couple years ago, but it's like still newish. Where he's like, there's like a statue, like bleeding eyes, crying. I don't know. I can't remember the fucking name of it.
That sounds
I watched
good,
it with
though.
Joey.
I gotta see that one. So the Possession, you said 2012. So that's a year before this one came out. So the moth thing, I'm not saying they copied each other, but it just kind of happened at the same time.
Well, the moth is a symbol for death.
I thought it was similar to your clothes are going bad.
That too.
Thing where it falls apart. What isn't that what mothballs are? Like your clothes are falling apart? I don't know. I'm not stylish. Just give me a break.
I don't know. It's kind of why did they have mothballs back in the day? Because I feel like no, I'm serious. I feel like
I have no idea.
we don't have an issue with moths. Like, why would it have been such
probably
a bad...
old houses?
Yes, they're attracted to asbestos.
It actually might be. Yeah, I have no idea.
What's that metal called?
Lead.
Lead and asbestos. I love it.
Jeez. All right, totally a sidebar here, but I was just reading an article today about lead and how it's still in most like houses built before a certain year.
Yes,
yeah,
it
like,
is.
Have not done any work to get rid of it. And there was actually like how sugar companies recently in like the 80s did a big push to hide the fact that it's really bad for you. Lead did the exact same thing back in the day when they were putting it in everything. Like, oh, paint the baby's pacifier in lead paint. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it'll release a little bit of minerals throughout time, so it's good for your baby. They literally like put out propaganda to say, no, you should have a little bit of lead in your system at all times. It's gonna spark you right up. So we might all be like screwed. That's still like blame half of the serial killer boom in the 80s and the early 90s on lead poisoning because of the gas lead. Now it's unleaded. And that directly led to people being more violent. So
interesting to think about.
I was wondering that because we had such a huge thing.
Like in the 70s and 80s.
Yes, it was gigantic. I was just thinking about that the other day, and I was wondering why was it so prevalent then? And then now, look at all the mass shootings that are happening. What's going on now that we're going to find out in...
It's probably hormones in the food, sugar spikes, coupled with like overstimulation.
And just the attention span.
Neglect.
These video games.
It's video games and rock and roll music. Thanks a lot with all of your guitars, Lauren.
Hey, I'm cool.
No, I haven't seen Lauren shoot up anybody yet, so we're good to go.
Yet. I'm only 34. There's still time.
Actually, I don't know the ages because usually serial killers tend to be a little older than mass shooters.
Or when they get caught.
Yeah. But like a lot of them started in 40s because this is kind of weird to say, but a lot of them are guys, and a lot of guys base their life off of their career or something in there that's tangible. So when they go to that midlife crisis and they have no job, a lot of them didn't really have skill sets. They just turned to killing people, and that was their job. So they just threw themselves into their new work. That's that's again another big side tangent. But
Gary, yes, The Unholy.
For the movie you're telling with the bleeding statue.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I need to watch that.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right.
It was okay.
I still like horror movies, even if they're bad. I'm happy to watch.
Yeah, we know. We've discussed quite a few on this show.
Really bad ones. We got to do like a I don't want to say like a Razzie award. I think we should make an actual award for worst horror movie. But you still were good enough to watch all the way through. I think that deserves an award. You put in all that effort. You gave us 100 minutes worth of something. I'm not going to say movie because that's kind of being generous. But you did work.
A cinematic experience.
That's very fair.
There was one.
Because it's an experience, whether it's good or bad.
It's true. There was one. It's very old, and I can't even think. It might even be like Killer Clown or something. But that clown on it. I can't think of what his name is. He's got like really sharp teeth, and that makeup with the dots. The dots underneath with the like diamonds and the dots or something like that.
That's not Pennywise. That's not
it's not. It's not him. But it's a cheesy movie, but it's very, very good.
Those are some of my favorites, honestly. Like I live for cheesy horror. There's Clown, which not so cheesy, but it's a killer clown that you can't take the costume off of because it's a German demon clown. So it's really the possession we were talking about earlier. That one we got the name. You guys picked it up. But that one fits a lot like this one as far as like the scares, I would say, because there was a lot of like dark corner, shadow, young girls, 2 young girls in both stories. Just so happens that their father and mother are alive in this one, or in The Possession, versus in this one it's the aunt or the uncle, excuse me, and his girlfriend. Which where are we at as far as this story? I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So
Terrifier.
okay, yeah.
Terrified. What? That's not old at all. Have you seen
I
part
was
2?
thinking of something else then.
Oh, okay. Because part
I
2
must
is.
have been.
Did
But
you?
that one's a good one.
I haven't seen those yet.
Oh my gosh! Again, we're stopping. We're just gonna pause for like 5 hours while we watch a bunch of movies. Because you guys should have seen it in theaters. Terrifier 2 is so gory.
I love gory shit.
It's 80s slasher brought back in a horrible way because they could do better practical effects now than they actually did them. It wasn't the best horror movie. I'm not gonna jump on that bandwagon. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it needs an Oscar." It wasn't that good.
But gore porn, basically.
But it was wonderful homage, and they did a really good job. And Chris Jericho was in it, so I was happy.
Right on.
One of my favorite wrestlers. So solid stuff.
I think.
It's a dog tail.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's adorable.
Her tail is wagging against the kennel, and I can hear it through the walls.
It's kind of adorable. So yeah, I think that's the next time we do a movie setup, we're doing Terrifier 1 and 2 then.
Okay.
I would love to.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right. So, they find a doll that one of the little girls has in her bed after, Annie has to take care of these girls kind of alone until he gets out of the hospital, out of his coma. And she finds a doll in the bed, and she brings it to the doctor's attention. So they talk about it. Who made the doll? Where's the doll from? And then she's like, oh, Mama made it. So he thinks that she kind of is taking on the role of Mama, because he still at this point doesn't believe that it's like a real ghost or entity or whatever it is, right?
That's his job, though. Like, I wouldn't believe him either.
Yeah, of course not.
You never trust children. Just don't listen to them.
Especially when you find them walking on all fours.
In the forest for 5 years by themselves.
Yeah. Eating possibly rabid animals.
I don't know. I feel like I would have a little bit more of an open mind, especially after learning like the story that she said with there being truth behind it. Like, that is weird.
A good point. That's I guess if you get hit with enough evidence or something, like, you got to believe it sooner or later.
I mean, it'd be insane, but it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Yeah. All right. I guess if you, like you said, the story was real. The girl told him pretty much verbatim. Why couldn't something be a little awkward or be a little out there?
Yeah, especially when it happened so long before, in the 1800s. What'd you say, 1860 or
1878 is
okay.
when they closed down. But I don't know.
Well, it had to have been right around.
Probably right after that incident happened. Yeah. So, let's see. The doctor notices too when he's interviewing interviewing in this hypnosis state, Victoria, that she is like looking up at something and not looking at him directly, because she obviously can see this, and he's like looking at her like, what is she looking at, basically. And then Anna hears singing coming from the vents, and it's not just the girls, it's another voice, and it creeps her out. And then she tells the doctor about it, and then he's like, oh, is it this? And then he plays the video of her humming the music, just like staring at nothing, humming, like you were saying.
Don't like it. No.
Yeah, I don't like that shit either. And so the public records lady, she comes back around. Okay, so we're gonna get back to her. she calls the doctor and says, there's something you want to see. So he goes down with her to an area where they keep remains from, I don't know, I guess they had dug up a grave site and they kept the remains in boxes in this facility, or this, like evidence type deal. I'm not sure. And she basically says that, she's like, do you believe in ghosts? And I don't know what she says exactly, but it was like, ooh, interesting. She was saying that ghosts are basically emotions in a loop. That's not verbatim what she said, but basically in a loop, trying to right the wrongs that have been done. And in the box was the wrong. So it's human remains. We find out of possibly a baby. Oof. That we had heard about it in the beginning of the story, where Victoria tells the story about Mama taking her baby and jumping off the cliff into the water.
Very sad.
Yeah. And jump scares ensue later on at the house. Just, Annie figuring out that there's weird shit going on with these moths and like these little girls acting weird. Weirder than usual at this point. In the hospital, they pan over to Luke, who is just still in his coma, obviously, and then there's moths flying around. So that whenever those moths come around, it's Mama, that entity, right? So he, in his coma dream, he sees his brother, which if we see the moths, we know that it's not that, right? It's Mama. So supposedly, I guess I heard something on a YouTube video where the guy was talking about basically like it was his brother pointing to somewhere to go to the cabin. Okay, but it wasn't his brother, it was Mama in disguise, like trying to separate or trying to get him into the cabin alone. Okay. Basically, yeah. So like, it eventually works because they find out, everything. They find out what happened, what's going on, what she needs eventually. But yeah, so he wakes up from his coma after that dream, and he leaves the hospital, which I would not advise that, but whatever. And then later we pan to the house where Victoria is crying in the bathroom, trying to open a jar of something. And Annie comes in and she's like, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't want you to get hurt. She's like, what do you mean? She said, Mama gets jealous. So yeah, Mama apparently does not like it when her girls want to be mothered by other women or other people, right?
Awkward.
Yeah. And Jean comes to visit, and she starts making up all these weird things about like, oh, I see bruises on them. She's like, I'm gonna call CPS real quick. So Aunt Jean comes back into their lives and is trying to, well, I guess they share visitation, like I said earlier. So she gets a visitation. She comes for her visit, and she's like, oh, are you abusing these children? Basically accusing Annie of hurting the kids or whatever. And that's just her way of trying to take them away, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, let's see. Oh, so we go back. Remember when the doctor notices that she's looking at something? He finds out through, doing the research on this Edith Brennan person that we heard about earlier. And he tries to find the cabin because apparently that's where everybody goes. I don't know. That's like, he finds the portal there because that's where the girls were found. So I guess everything leads back to that cabin. And Mama ends up killing him. Sorry, spoiler alert.
No.
Yeah. Because, I guess she senses that he's trying to take advantage of the girls by writing a book on them and using them as,
But like, that's not that bad.
content.
I mean, okay.
I mean, she's very protective of those girls.
Maybe a little too much. That's
It's
a little
obvious.
too far.
Yeah, it's obvious. Sorry, I keep stuttering. I'm like trying to remember the movie and my notes. Okay, so okay, so Annie, we go back to Annie. There's a lot of panning to different scenes. It all comes together eventually. So Annie has a vision, or she's asleep. She sleeps a lot, by the way. I noticed. She has a vision of a woman who seemingly stole a baby from a bunch of nuns in a church, and she stabs one of the nuns and kills her, takes the baby and runs away. And this is all a vision. So I'm assuming, I think we find out that it's Edith Brennan who is Mama, and she kind of puts everything together. And later on, Mama shows herself to the girls, and Victoria is starting to refuse to go to her because she finds out that Mama is not like this protective, loving thing that she thought she was. She's killing people.
Not good.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to go with her. So Lily decides that she's going to go with her anyway, and she's outside looking for her, and Mama's off in the cabin because at this point, we know that she can use the portals to travel between the cabin and the home.
Mm-hmm.
So she can go back and forth through these portals. So that's how you know when you see those that Mama's near.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So Annie finds the portal. And she eventually finds Lily outside because I guess Lily was searching for her in the night, but Mama left to go take care of the doctor. So she basically abandons her. And she starts to kind of come around Annie after that because she realizes that Mama she wasn't there for her like she always was, So doctor goes missing. Annie tries to find him. So she goes to his office, and then turns out she just steals all his files and steals his laptop to find out what the fuck's going on with these kids.
When someone goes missing, you definitely want to go to their house and leave a bunch of evidence that you were in their house. It's a good idea. Okay.
Well, it's his public office, so.
Oh, okay. So she was already there once.
Yeah.
All right.
She'd already been there. I'm like, oh, cool, klepto.
I kind of want to circle back to also the vision that is shown where she's at stabs a nun and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned actually that's very like on point, because back in the day the nuns were midwives,
Mm-hmm.
and if you were unwed, what they would do is they would
Steal your baby.
Yeah, you would have the baby. They would take your baby from you. No, you
Mhm.
can't have this baby. You can't provide anything. I mean, you
Right.
don't have a husband to provide for
And she
you.
was already in an asylum, so she was probably sent to the asylum pregnant.
Oof.
She has the
Well,
baby. They take the baby
Yes.
from her.
And who knows? Back at that time, you as a woman, you could have been sent to the asylum for any reason.
Mhm.
Oh my
It doesn't
gosh,
matter what it was. So they could. It unfortunately painted out a picture for her to possibly be considered insane, but who knows if she really was or not.
Right.
But that must have been a breaking point, I'm sure, but after getting your baby taken.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I'd rather
Oh.
jump off this fucking cliff with my
Mhm.
baby than have you fuckers try and steal and
Mhm.
sell it to child molesters.
Right.
Well, they weren't looking directly for child molesters. I will say that though. I hope they were
Who do
But-
you think wants to adopt children? Of course, easy access.
I would say,
Child molesters.
especially back then, parents who want easy workforce.
That too.
That's true.
Child
That's
labor.
true.
It was the 1800s. It was
Bunch of
before
kids.
really they had child labor laws.
You force them to work, and you're making money on top of money. All right. I just want to point that out there. If you're ever feeling like, man, I don't know how to get my business off the ground, have a bunch of kids. You'll be fine. But you're absolutely right though with the
I wonder
There
you
was
have
a-
all those fosters, huh?
oh yeah, they're good workforce. I mean, they don't know how to do anything right, but they're still. It'll get there one day. It'll pan out. But I read a list of like reasons why people were sent to asylums, and for women it could be reading too much, too rebellious, too into politics, so many
infidelity.
Infidelity. Man, you're crazy if you ever think of stepping out on your husband. It was a really weird list. I think I forget her name, but JFK's sister, one of the Kennedys, was sent Rose, and she was lobotomized.
Rose something, yeah.
And he would visit her when he could, very rarely, because they actually told him that she died.
That's fucked.
Until he found out later on in life, and then he died, obviously. So she was left to rot in an asylum after they allowed a lobotomy to happen to her that rendered her incapable of taking care of herself. So, yeah, women had it pretty rough back then with science. Yeah. Not good. I apologize. But, yeah.
Well, you didn't do it, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, she's a pretty interesting story.
That's a whole can of worms on its own. And if you want to go like lobotomy to eugenics straight to the Nazis, which actually started here in California. Like eugenics, that the whole, separate the races and like you can make higher stock by taking care of certain people, not letting them breed. That actually was founded here in California. So
nice.
Good job, scientists. Very sad, but we don't do it anymore, probably. So remember that.
Probably, I doubt that.
That's a big probably. Well, let's go back into something happier.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Sorry, my hair. Okay, so let's see. After the doctor goes missing, Annie steals the files. She finds out, the story of Mama, basically, Edith. And so Luke decides to go to Drift and Forge, where this area was that Mama had, Edith had jumped off the cliff. Willow Pass, I believe, is like basically just these little things that stuck out, like these little visions of like these, like the bridge nearby and all that stuff, basically kind of led him to where he needed to go. Let's see. Okay, so earlier I said that Victoria's starting to warm up to Annie, but Lily still wants to be with Mama. And this shows when Victoria starts opening up to Annie, saying, I love you, and all these things. And then Lily's just in the corner, like, Mama's going to be mad. Better not do that. So you can see how, like, the two are starting to kind of, like, split. Jean pulls up again. It pans to the girls in their bed, and the portal's there. Mama's there, and Lily's being called over, and she's pissed because they decide, not to go with her because she's scary, and so Mama starts chasing her. It's like this whole thing, this whole fucking like scary part where the demon starts, wreaking havoc, chasing children. How those movies go. Demon chases.
Nice.
So they try to kill Annie. Mama tries to kill Annie. Doesn't work. And then, poor Aunt Jean. Poor Aunt Jean. She eventually gets it. She gets it.
I kind of feel like good that she's making up rumors and stuff. Come on.
Yeah. Trying to call CPS for no reason. Yeah, she gets it.
That's not cool.
Well,
the girls.
And then it sucks because it's like the girls were already there with, and then to try to take them away from another place.
They're already
they
were already getting like stability. I don't know, just because she's a mean bitch. But she got what's coming to her.
She think she got money. She can take whatever she wants. You get killed. I like it.
Okay, so Luke and Annie eventually meet up. Luke was wandering aimlessly around the woods trying to find this fucking cabin, trying to find something. Annie tries, she drives to the cabin. She eventually meets up with him. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? What are you doing here? Kind of thing. So they go to the cabin. Poor Jean, they find her basically like she's facing away from the camera And then when she turns around, she's like hollow because Mama like basically ate her soul, like used her body to, I guess she used her body to physically take the girls and drive the car and like all that. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, like a meat sex to do all the labor.
Isn't that all we are? Like everybody? You're just a soul with a meat puppet that you're moving around.
Could you imagine like she got pulled over and have a good day.
How would she know how to drive? She's a ghost from the 1800s.
I know, there were no cars.
Yeah, it's like the song Jesus Take the Wheel. He couldn't do it. He doesn't know how to drive.
Mama, take the wheel.
Leave him alone.
Excuse me. So they eventually get to the cliff where Mama has the two girls, where in life she had jumped off with her baby. And it turns out the story goes that, like I said, she escaped from the asylum. Edith did. She stabs the nun, takes her baby. Men are chasing her through the woods, and she decides, rather than get caught by these people and have my baby taken away, I'll just, try to jump into the river and escape. So she has the baby. She jumps off. Unfortunately, she hits a branch in her body, which is why Mama looks so distorted and crazy, like in her ghost form. It's because she hit a branch and broke her arms, and the baby, luckily, but unluckily, because it died from the elements, it got stuck on the branch. So that's what happened. She was separated in life from her baby, and so in death, that's why she was like the Mama character. She was looking for her baby. She died never knowing what happened to it. Excuse me. So yeah, that's where the remains came from and all of that shit. So unfortunately, Lily decides she wants to go with Mama still. So the ending of this is Lily ends up dying, and her soul goes with Mama, but Mama never fucks with them again, as far as we know. One thing that I don't get is, like, they ended it with that, like, big happy family with the three of them, Victoria, Luke, and Annie. But I want to know, like, all these people died. Like, what's going to happen now? Like, they're not just going to be like, oh, the little girl was taken away by a ghost. Like, CPS is definitely coming to take that kid.
I feel like it's just a let it be situation, The doctor, whatever. The aunt was kind of a bitch. Little girl, nobody really knew anyway.
Yeah.
Just let bygones be bygones.
I don't know. It's just so, I don't know. I want to know what happens. Like, realistically, they're all going to prison.
There's a lot of movies like that, especially horror movies, where they end and it's just like, sigh of relief, we finally got rid of whoever it is, whatever demon. And there's like 40 dead bodies just kind of piled up. And like, how do you explain that Freddy Krueger came in here and killed all these people?
Some burnt dude in your dreams.
Or, oh yeah,
I'm doing Shaggy. It wasn't me.
yeah. How's that gonna pan out with the police though? You can sing the song all you want.
Perfect. It wasn't you. You're good to go.
Well, in that case, we got to find who did it. Sorry to waste your time. Like, or the killer dolls. Oh, it was definitely Annabelle. Really? It was the doll? You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Yeah.
Real quick, Richard, we did talk about Mamma Mia for a quick second, and we're not going to go again. The song.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I did realize too. Yeah, the Mama is played by Javier Bodet.
A man.
A dude. Yeah, there's a lot of good creature actors out there right now. And he's one of them. Like, he does a really good job still. Like the dude from Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth is really good at his job.
Oh yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Is the one who no,
he
but
directed
he didn't. It was from his mind supposedly. This movie as well.
He makes
Pan's Labyrinth
creatures,
basically. Yeah.
I think he just came out with a new series on Netflix. Have you heard of it? I can't remember what it's called, but you'll see, like, it's based on
I've heard of
stories
it.
of Guillermo del Toro. Anyway, It's really, really good. You gotta watch it. It's very good.
Yeah, no, I have heard about that. Yeah, I think that's something I gotta catch up.
Something
I gotta catch up.
mystery of something.
It is a series, all right? Like
Yes,
it's episodic.
but the episodes are all different.
I like that. I like that a lot. Like oh gosh, it's nothing to do with like Twilight Zone, how it was all different stories. I still love that.
It is, yeah.
Or
It's
the
like that.
Love and Robots.
Yes.
Oh,
it's
yes.
Just like that.
Yes, that was a really. It's not really particular to this show, but Sex, Love, and Robots.
Yes, I think that's what it
Is
is.
that
I think it's a full title. Yeah,
Okay.
it is impressive.
Sex, Love, and Robots? That doesn't. No, Death.
Death, Love, and
Yeah.
Robots.
Death Row. Yeah, it's just a lot of sex scenes in there. I'm not wrong. Don't tell me like half that show is just sex.
The zombie
For-
one was really cool.
One of
I
my
liked
favorites.
that one with the girl. She was like a witchy chick in the river. You know what I'm talking with the gold, all the jewelry all over her body.
mhm.
There's that one. I like the rats one too. That one was pretty funny, but
I think my favorite would probably be, oh my gosh, it was the astronaut who goes into space and like becomes part of a consciousness of this.
I know that one. Yeah.
The big picture ones are just, it blows your mind, but then you get to watch the mini zombie apocalypse. I fucking love that.
I love that. That's
Or
my favorite.
the robot bear fight.
It's just so funny, like to see like little claymation little characters scream and get like smashed by
The giant mutated zombie. It's great. Yeah. Death, Love, and Robots.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. There's a lot of really good ones in there.
Yeah.
I do not remember the old one though. I gotta check that out.
It's good.
It's pretty
It's a good one.
I must have
And
just
so
missed
it's
it.
like she sings or screams something like that, and it enchants these guys. They're all soldiers. Enchants them to go into the river and basically like drown themselves.
like Siren.
Yes, but this one guy, he's deaf. So it's a good one. It's good.
So moral of the story is don't listen to women because they'll drown you in a river. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, we say it correctly and say drown, not drowned you.
Drown.
Drowned. You said drowned you.
And they will drown. They will drown whom in a river then? Who would they drown?
You.
Just me. Oh, sorry. They're gonna drown this guy in a river. They will drown men in a river. Yeah. Enough of that. But I think there's some good morals in Mama too. First of all, diversify your stocks and bonds, so you don't have to kill your whole family.
Take your medication.
Take your medication. That's a good one.
Re-up when it's low.
I think I agree. If the kids are that crazy, don't take them. I think Ashley's right on that part. If they're on all fours and like talking to demons and stuff, just let the aunt take them. Yeah, let the aunt have them.
Let Mama take the wheel on that one.
I think so, yeah. And don't give licenses to ghosts. That would also be a good one. What do you call it? In a van by the river. Yes, in a van by the river. That's where I'm going to be living, yeah. Friggin' SNL. Oh my gosh. Lights Out is another one that I thought was good until the rush ending. The endings being rushed is so common in horror movies because they have these wonderful build-ups, and then the only one I think can like be separated from that is The Witch. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I loved The Witch. I thought the ending was creepy, and the women floating into the air because they're all actual witches was just like, I didn't think it was going to come to that. I thought it was going to be one of those open for interpretation kind of endings, and it was absolutely not. Fucking loved it. I too want to live deliciously. Yeah, that was a good ending.
Is that a new movie?
It's pretty new. It's like last
2022?
5 years maybe. Last 5.
Oh, then I don't know.
The Witch is. I would recommend it still. Like I basically ruined it. I apologize because that's the end.
I won't remember by the time I watch it.
Good. I like it.
Okay.
The lobotomy worked. That was a joke. There's no lobotomies happening. But I would say for what I got to watch, and I'm gonna go finish it. I like.
Yeah,
this
my
one.
ending didn't kind of like didn't do it justice really. I just kind of spouted out what happened, but yeah.
I thought it was pretty solid. It let me know what happened. Ash, from what you can remember, like, would you watch it again? I think it was a yes, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted to. I actually I still do. I probably am going to anyway.
Hey,
But
It wasn't horrible. We've seen a lot of like shitty movies.
yeah, I would say Santa Jaws is probably. I would rather watch this one again.
Santa Jaws?
Oh, that's.
I
horrible.
swear that was the
Something
worst
joke,
one we've
Oh,
seen.
no.
I think Evil Bong was still better than that.
Oh, Evil Bong was definitely better. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're gonna leave it at that, guys. The Arizona girls will be back on Tuesday to talk about those alien abductions. It is Jesse Long and the Lees. So if you want to check that out, there are some good videos out there for it. But don't watch them yet. Watch them with us, and we'll show you what's going on. Anything before we close this one out, guys?
Nope.
I think we're good.
Do we know what's going on next week?
We do,
For us next week?
right?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
We'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll let you guys. We'll let you
Cool.
guys know in a little bit. And no, I have not seen Ghost Jaws, Urban Jaws yet. There's a lot of shark-based movies I need to catch up on, Richard. I promise that will happen. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.